Alright, this interview is for HIWD 375, which is Korean and Vietnam Wars. It is the spring 2018 B term. Professor Dr. Glenn Slater. My name is Justin Davenport, and this is my interview. This is my dad, Gary Davenport. He's who I will be interviewing. He was a veteran of the Vietnam War. First question I have for you: what year did you join the military?
1971,
1971. What branch were you in?
U.S. Navy,
What was your job?
aircraft handler,
What years were you in Vietnam and where?
72, 73, Gulf of Tonkin.
Why did you join the military during a time that you knew you could possibly go to Vietnam?
Well, I was going to go to Vietnam. I had just been drafted. So went down to the entrance board down there and happened to run into a Navy chief who actually transferred me from Army to Navy.
Before going to Vietnam, what did you think about the war? The war and the U.S. involvement in the war?
Didn't really understand it. I was 16, I think. 15, 16, whatever. People had come back from there with injuries, and so you look at it in two ways, you know. You don't know the politics of it, but, you know, you see the outcome of it, so kind of torn either way.
Do you personally think that the U.S. should have been involved in Vietnam, and why, or why not?
No, I don't think they should have been there.
Why not?
It was all political. It was, you know, it's... you could probably justify it by the Korean War, you know, they pulled the same thing over there, so it was just a political stunt. I didn't think it was really needed.
That's probably also why during Vietnam and Korea, they technically weren't wars. They were conflicts because a declaration of war was, never declared, which gave the president and all of his cronies kind of some leeway in getting involved in these things. From your perspective and the people around you, do you think that we were winning the war?
If you watch the nightly news, you would think we were losing, but I don't know. We used to watch it every night at home with my dad and everything, and it's kind of hard to say. Well, towards the time I was there, we were winning. It was a winnable war.
Why do you think that the people that think that we didn't win, why do you think they think that we didn't win?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I know a lot of people think that we didn't win just because there was changing strategies as new presidents and new generals got involved. Everybody started changing strategies. It first started out with, body counts being judged as who's winning the war, and then it ended up more towards, winning the hearts and minds. Do you think that played a big part?
I do. That's why Nixon pulled out. It wasn't acceptable here. The people were tired of it. We were winning though, but
what did you believe that your mission was personally?
our mission was to launch aircraft, support aircraft, going into Vietnam to support troops on the ground, uh, destroy roadways, bridges. Pretty much it.
With that being your mission, do you think that your mission was vital
Oh
to
yeah.
the success of Vietnam?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We flew a lot of flights out of there. Lost a lot of aircraft. Yeah.
What ship were you on?
The USS America, aircraft carrier.
If you were in charge overall, of the Vietnam War, how would you have handled it?
Hard to say. I'm not a politician. Maybe put the war in the hands of the generals and not the politicians in Washington, possibly. Probably would have had a better outcome.
Do you think if we had one strategy and stuck to it, that more people would have thought the war was won on our side?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think we made a difference, the Americans, in Vietnam, and why?
Uh, Depends on how you look at it. I mean, look at today. Where they get us, you know. North Vietnam, South Vietnam, we're out 58,000 men. Nothing's really changed. You know, if they would have taken it back in 1960 or 65 or today, you know, same outcome. And they won and we left. So.
How did you feel after returning home, and were you treated any differently as being a veteran of the Vietnam War?
Coming home wasn't good.
How were you treated whenever you returned home?
Well, flew into the airport. Baggies of crap, piss, vomit, rotten food. Cursed.
So with the way you're treated after you return home, did that change how you felt about your service during Vietnam?
Yeah, it did. In a way, it made you feel stronger that you did it. But after years go by, you start thinking about it. You think, nah, maybe it wasn't worth it. So, it wasn't a good time. Lost a lot of friends. People wouldn't talk to you. Friends you did have were no longer friends.
How has your life been impacted now, having served in Vietnam?
Mentally or physically?
Everything. I know everybody that serves in the military in some aspect comes back with physical ailments and stuff like that. But as far as you personally, how has your life been impacted?
It makes you stronger, but there's a lot of hurt there. A lot of pain. I don't know. No sleeping. I don't call them nightmares, but
Do you feel like maybe the government and certain agencies can do more for veterans returning?
yeah, they should.
And do you think that maybe it started since the Vietnam War? It's kind of considered the forgotten war, that and the Korean War, but
I think it affected the Korean War too. Those guys in the Korean War also. My dad went through that. But back then they just called it shell shock and whatever. They blew it off. They weren't compensated for it either. But Vietnam was just I don't know. There was the mental aspect, and then, like I said, the physical aspect. Cancers, diabetes, thyroid issues, you name it. Agent Orange played a big part in that. A lot of veterans are going through this right now and not getting any help from the VA.
would you change anything about your service? And if so, what?
Nah, I don't think I would change it. It was a learning experience. I don't think it would change it.
So if there's one thing that you want somebody that was not serving during the Vietnam War to know, what would that be?
At the time,
Then and now.
don't enlist. Not till they got their act together in Washington. You know, you just can't send people out to fight a war and not support them. Uh, you have to back them up.
So what's the one thing you think that the government could have done to make the outcome in Vietnam better? For Americans, at
I
least.
don't know. Could have handled the war differently by the strategies that you mentioned earlier. There was more support for the troops. A lot of the issue really wasn't the government. It was the people here back in the States that didn't understand the war. And they pretty much were against it. So protests, rioting, draft card burning, you name it, leaving the country. It would have taken the government and the people, probably better communication with people out here so they had a better understanding of the war. Might have helped.
Do you think that maybe having joint chiefs of staff and advisors to the president and Congress that have actually had military experience would help?
Yeah.
Because John F. Kennedy and a lot of his guys were younger guys that did not have any military sense,
Yeah.
trying to win a war that they don't know anything about.
Yeah, you need somebody in there that has an idea what's going on. You just can't throw people in there that have no idea. You know, they make the wrong calls. Wrong calls cost people their lives. You know, it's just yeah.
So with the Korean and the Vietnam War both being conflicts where a war was not declared, do you think that there was a reason that the war was not declared? Do you think it was better for the government because they wouldn't be able to get the approval for an actual war, so they kind of skated around it so they can have more leeway?
Yeah, pretty much like a War Powers Act. The president has say, you know, so pretty much how this one started. Started with Eisenhower, went on to Kennedy, and on up. So,
Do you think there's a correlation between every war since Korea until now, where we have not technically declared a war on anybody, but we still go and fight? Such as Bosnia, Panama, Korea, Vietnam, all these where it hasn't been an actual war declared, but we do send military troops in.
yeah. It's a political thing. It's a Washington thing. There's no other way of putting it.
All right, that's my interview. My name is Justin Davenport. This was my father, Gary Davenport, Vietnam War veteran. Served in the Gulf of Tonkin from 72 to 73. Thank you for watching.
Now it's your turn.